In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
What a day. We're getting it going on a Wednesday. Stormy, Buonantony, Matt Brown in for JVT as we welcome you in. The Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, any of our wonderful terrestrial radio stations across the country. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Big show on deck, lots to get to. Also, some action underway already here, Matt. We got 3 MLB games in action. Shout out Yuri Perez. So the Marlins were around a plus 130 dog today against Toronto. They're up 1-0 early. Runners in scoring position, and Yuri Perez with 5 Ks to get it going here. So 1-0 there, 1-0 for the Nationals over the Guardians, and scoreless middle of 2 for Cardinals Brewers.
Yeah, lots of day games today as well. One's going to be going in about an hour in the Mariners and A's, about an hour 45 minutes. Will get us Diamondbacks and Giants. Phillies and Padres are during the afternoon slate as well. So some good day baseball for you out there that decided to play hooky from work today.
And we will cover the bases with that a little bit later on. See, okay.
Look,
thanks for acknowledging.
It's good.
Thank you. I worked on that. Which is actually, that's a good segue to everything we're going to preview today on the program. Time for the rundown, today's top items and guests on the show.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the Rundown.
All right, here's what we got coming up. ESPN's Steve Levy joining us in about 30 minutes. He has been all over the Stanley Cup playoffs in studio, calling games. We'll get his thoughts on Montreal-Carolina Game 4 tonight. Of course, react to what happened last night right here in Vegas. And Nick Bogdanovich, head of trading at Boomer Sportsbook, also going to stop by in hour 2. We'll see where the money's going in the NBA, NHL postseason, a handful of other items as well.
Yeah, cannot wait to talk to them about everything here. I mean, Steve Levy obviously getting to take in all of the awesomeness, which we will get to here momentarily. Cash some tickets as well.
Maybe. Maybe.
We do. Yeah.
It's an exciting week to have Matt on the program because usually we have you on as a guest to talk golf. We can go as long as we want with golf today because the Charles Schwab is rolling on tomorrow.
Just about an hour. We're just going to go the whole second hour here. Just nothing but golf. You just hang around. We'll talk to Charles Schwab.
Beautiful. By the way, new long shots out now. Catch Matt, Kelly, and Wes. Of course, I got your back.
If you want to see the video version over on YouTube as well, we have our own YouTube channel.
No doubt about it. Now, most shows are starting the day today. Coming in, talking NBA.
Not here.
OKC pulls ahead in the Western Conference Final against San Antonio. Good for you. We are not most shows. We will get to the NBA in a moment, but how about the Sin City sweep officially complete? Those Golden Knights get a 2-1 win last night against the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche in 4. They punched their ticket to a 3rd Stanley Cup Final in their young 9-year history, second time since 2023. I saw Caesars was as high as 30-1 on a Golden Knights sweep here. DraftKings 25-1. Circa put out this morning. It was a little over 28-1 here where we're broadcasting from. And listen, Colorado did make it interesting. They're late. They have the extra attacker 6-on-5, Gabe Landeskog. What a weird bounce on that one, which, by the way, is what cost me my reverse puck line on the Golden Knights last night. This funky deflection bounce
off the ice.
It goes under the defender's skate and then
top spin
over Carter Hart's shoulder and just made me want to die, but it's fine. So 2-1, the final there. And give Mackenzie Blackwood credit, too. He's a big part of why I lost this bet as well. The 2 massive stops he had on Pavel Dorofeev in close. While I was unlucky on that one, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we were a little bit lucky on the Nathan McKinnon prop here because it goes well under the 3.5. He has just 2 shots on goal, but he also had an attempt blocked and like 3 or 4 just misses of the net as well. So we got that home.
That was fun. I like to any hockey ticket that I get to cash is like one of the best bets for me because I make so few of them.
And you got another boost.
Yeah, I make so few. Yeah, we got that at plus money, by the way. Hopefully some of you guys joined us out there on that one. But yeah, that was fun to get in. I'm watching this game last night, and as you're watching someone who watches way more hockey than me and knows the ins and outs better than me as well, it did almost feel weirdly enough like the Knights were not only the better team, but almost like definitively the better team, like for almost the entire 60 minutes. Like you said, the one goal was a weird deflection where the puck literally hits and starts doing a topspin thing where it hits and goes over and into the goal. Like I'm sitting there watching it. Outside of that, it looked like they were just the better team, which is crazy because, again, like we said yesterday on the program, this Avalanche team was supposed to go in and roll this.
Yes, and let's dive a little bit deeper into that because I'm in complete agreement with your assessment there. Captain of the Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone, in an interview with Sportsnet after the game, was discussing not only kind of the team's resilience in getting here, but his reaction to getting the sweep as well.
You know, you go through an 82-game season, you're going to have adversity, and I think that's helped us build to where we are right now. We never wavered, especially in this playoffs. We've been down, but we've always found a way to bounce back. So, listen, we're as surprised as everybody that we're sitting here 4 straight, but just the consistency and the will to win from our team has been awesome since we started the playoffs.
So I want to talk about that adversity here for a second because we referenced the pillow fight division moniker yesterday that Connor McDavid came up with. It was like nobody wanted to win the Pacific Division to get out of this thing. They are a team that finished 13th in the league standings. They were 26 points back of Colorado, what they were able to do in what was a top 10 all-time regular season, by the way, for the Colorado Avalanche. They fired their coach with 8 games remaining because they were lost 12 of 16 games near the end of the regular season. Things were falling apart at the seams, but leadership believed that they had enough talent and capability to be a cup contender. So they fire their coach with 8 games left. John Tortorella steps in, helps this team regain their confidence, and they have just every step of the way started to get better and better and better. The way they looked the first 4 games of that series round 1 against Utah, you're wondering if they're going to be out in the first round. Then they started to build on it against Anaheim, still didn't really look to form. And the fact that they have looked their absolute best and were peaking against the best team in the National Hockey League is really impressive to me. And I would be very scared for whoever is coming out of the Eastern Conference.
And certainly just with the play that you're getting from Carter Hart as well, right?
No
I mean,
question.
like this is a deal where when they made the full-time move to him, he's just been absolutely lights out. And that was basically the bugaboo for the Golden Knights for the majority of the season, right? It was just the inconsistent goaltending, and they were just, soft and cheap goals that were going in. And you would hear this night after night, especially during that losing streak that you were talking about, where people were going, this team's like playing uninspired. The goaltending is so terrible. This team is like going to crash out. And then, like I said, just that move to bring in Torts, and then here we are. He
had I want to say an 880 something save percentage the first 4 games against Utah. Since then, he's been like 950. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Colorado, again, the top goal scoring team in the National Hockey League this year. He has a 944 save percentage those 4 games, 175 goals against, 505 goals saved above average. That is insane what he's been able to do. And yet you can still find him 25-1 for Conn Smythe. And this goes back to what we've talked about a lot on this show over the last couple weeks. I still don't know if I can get down on it. And I think that as long as he is in that market, because of the off-ice stuff.
For sure.
And that's the only reason he's available at that number.
I'm not going to say he can't win it. I'm going to say it's probably very unlikely.
And all things considered, if it's even, right, between he and Mitch Marner, for example, if Mitch continues to score and rack up points in the Stanley Cup Final, then I feel like you're not going to want your name attached to that, and it's a feel-good story with Mitch.
We're still humans, right?
Yeah.
And humans have biases, and I think that it's going to play into a vote like that, like you said, especially if there's anyone in the neighborhood that could possibly win it, which there is right now.
Yes, and so let's go to the Colorado side of this real quickly, because Jared Bednar was also on the podium yesterday and referenced the level that Vegas is playing through his eyes.
I'll look at this and we'll see how it goes. But we run into a buzzsaw in Vegas. I think they deserve the credit, and it's not a knock on our guys and how hard we played, but they're a well-oiled machine right now, peaking at the right time. And I look at their series, and man to man, they're playing at the top of their game, and it's a very, very good team that we lost to, and we'll have to regroup and reassess and reflect on our season and our series and go from there.
I kind of hate it for Colorado fans. Like, rough year, by the way, for y'all. First the Broncos, then what happens in the Nuggets in the postseason, and now you're the best team in the league. It's cup or bust expectations for you. You've got two of the best players in the world on your team, and you get swept in the conference finals when you have all these expectations. I was just reminding myself, looking through some of the regular season metrics, lead the league in goals per game, lead the league in goals allowed per game and save percentage, best penalty kill. You bring back Nazem Kadri and become the best power play in the league, had the most depth. You're 8-1 through the first two rounds, looking like you're the buzzsaw that's going to go through everybody. It's just, I am shocked. I'm going to be very curious. I'm going to ask Steve Levy a little bit later on the same question I asked you yesterday. If I told you this series resulted in a sweep, what are the odds that you would give it was Vegas on the other side of this thing? It is, I think, when you put it into context of where Vegas was at the end of the regular season and what Colorado has been all year long, this is one of the biggest upsets the way this played out ever in the NHL.
Maybe Bednar shouldn't have been smashing Pie Gal on the night before the game.
Jared, you got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have been smashing Pie Gal. Like, maybe it carried over into his planning. He gets crushed at the table, goes in, doesn't feel like doing any prep work or something. They lose, they get swept out of there. But yeah, it's awesome. And again, this city behind this team, like no other. I mean, it is what you and I were talking about on the way in. It was so easy to take to this team, not only because of all the stuff that had gone on here whenever the team was doing their stuff, but again, I said where I grew up, if you came in anywhere in the vicinity of that, there was no hockey teams. There was no whatever. So it's easy to just make that a hockey team your hockey team, right? And that's what a lot of the city is from people from everywhere, and like there's a lot of people who can just adopt that team as their team.
And I know there are hockey fans across the country that get pissed at Vegas fans and they hate them and us. I'm one of them because of the unprecedented success that you've had as an expansion franchise, playing now in a third cup final in such a short history and all of this stuff. But as you said, for a city, and I know as a local, someone who was born and raised here, and we didn't have sports really outside of UNLV, for them to be the first professional franchise to come here, and for a city that was just yearning for sports for so long, for them to do what they've done, for us as fans who I feel, and a lot of the older people here too, that I think just deserved it. Yeah. It's really, really cool. I'm so happy for the city. You should have seen, obviously when I cover these games for ESPN, I'm a neutral party and all of that stuff. But now that I'm done covering games and I can put the fan hat on, it's been really,
away fans, fun. If you can make the trip to Vegas.
Come on down. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, we're just getting started here on Money Moves. When we return, staying in the Western Conference, but fine, we'll talk NBA. OKC regaining the edge in the series. We'll be right back.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, how about those Thunder pulling ahead in the Western Conference Final against San Antonio last night as we welcome you back to Money Moves. Stormy Buonantony, Matt Brown with you. OKC now one win away from getting back to the NBA Finals. For note, winners of Game 5 in best-of-7 NBA series that were tied at 2 do go on to win the set 82% of the time in postseason history. The Thunder now 9-0 the last 2 seasons coming off a loss. They have been great in that zigzag bounce-back spot.
They are not going to lose whenever they shoot like that. So, I mean, that's just, you just run into a game like that. And if you're the Spurs, you almost are glad that you played your worst game of the playoffs in a series in a game like this, because you sit there and you go, okay, well, they shot 44% from three. Mm-hmm. If they shoot 44% from three, we're going to lose more times than we're going to win in that game. And so, yeah, you get a clunker from Wemby. You get a clunker from actually a lot of people. You see De'Aaron Fox, that he's just not right. I mean, like, he does not look explosive at all out there. Maybe a couple more days of rest will help him out with those ankles and stuff that's going on with him. But, yeah, he did not look himself at all. He was terrible. There really wasn't anybody other than Champagnie that really had any sort of impact on this game on the Spurs side of things. And then you look on the Oklahoma City side of things, and not only did you get the big game out of Shea, but you get the double-double out of Hartenstein. You get a good game out of Chet.
A Chet game,
finally
yes.
get a good, and it's so crazy with a guy of his skill set that we're like, he scored 16. I mean, it's not like a huge, he scored 16 points. We're like, hey, Chet had a great game, but it is like Chet had a great game.
And do you see the Wemby slow-mo they caught of him like bumping shoulders with Chet too? Like, that's how you know Chet had a good game.
And then Alex Caruso had another one. He just goes out there and has another. And so again, you run into a game like that, you're almost glad that you played as poorly as you did, because if you played really, really good and you still lost, then maybe it's a little bit tougher of a pill to swallow. But if you're San Antonio, you look at this one and you say, okay, we didn't play great, but they played amazing. And it's very unlikely that they're going to shoot 44% from three again, right? And so we just go out on our court and take care of business.
And this was a game, too, where San Antonio was getting bet. We talked about it on the air yesterday, down from the opener of 5.5 to 4.5. By the time tip-off was coming, this thing was down to like 3.5. So they continued to get support and just had one of those no-show days. And I don't even want to call it that, but for Victor Wembanyama to have his worst performance of the postseason and not have the help that other teams might be able to get in terms of their superstars, right? He has 20 points last night, 4 of 15 from the floor, so 27%. Didn't have his usual energy either, and I think that's been the really big talking point coming out of this in reference to Victor Wembanyama is the fatigue of this long playoff kind of setting in for him. This is a guy who averaged 29 minutes on the court per game in the regular season, who's playing 38 now. And is that too much for a guy who's never been through it before?
Yeah, it looked like his legs certainly weren't there. You could see it with the 3-point shot. He was over on the night, like just didn't look as good as it had with everything. And, I can't say that it's going to be much of the same. You do get a day off, and these are professional athletes, so I have a very tough time wrapping my brain around the whole like, oh, this is so incredibly tough on these guys. I mean, it is a physical sport, but not near like football or hockey or anything like that. And so I look at this and, hey man, you had a bad game. You looked off from the get-go. Go in there, figure it out, and let's go. And you go back to San Antonio in a must-win scenario. I think they show up much, much better in this one. Like I said, you're going to get variance in sports, and you got a very, very, very high percentage shooting night from beyond the arc at Oklahoma City. And if you look at box scores, more times than not, if you see a team shoots 44% from three, they probably win. They probably win the game.
It just is what it is. And so you say that San Antonio will look better on their home court coming up for this next game tomorrow. They're laying 3.5 in that spot, so favored to ultimately tie the set back up and then have a winner-take-all Game 7 in OKC, which quite frankly is, I think, what we all want, right? Yes,
absolutely what we want here. I don't think I can pull the trigger on this one. Like I said, this has been a bit of a blind spot for me because I have fallen in love.
Antonio,
I've just fallen in love with the Spurs team, and I'm glad I laid off last night. I'm going to lay off probably again here in this one. I think the number is appropriate. I think they should be favored when they head back over there. Again, they're smart people that are making these lines. They see how poorly they played and how good Oklahoma City played, and that's where you land on this 3.5. And seems about right for me, and I'll sit back and watch and enjoy.
OKC out to minus 450 now on that series price. They're minus 145 to win it all. We already know coming out of the Eastern Conference, the Knicks will be well rested. They're plus 210. So even though the Thunder have gotten shorter, the Knicks odds have stayed the same in the futures market. So that just tells you OKC with that win, just getting a little bit more support now that they're going to be the team coming out. We also have those hypothetical odds as well. Should OKC come out of this series, as the odds indicate, they're minus 265 series favorites against the Knicks. The Spurs, should they come out, would be minus 225 favorites. So as you were saying yesterday, anyways, whoever the Knicks get, they're probably not going to lose.
They're going to lose. One thing that is interesting here, just in this one, since we're a day away from this game, while we were doing the opening segment, 3 different books went from 218.5 to 219.5. So there were some people betting the total here in this one on a Wednesday morning. So if you are looking to bet the over, there's still the 218.5 at MGM and FanDuel, but Everywhere else has gone to 219 and a half. And so it seems like that's going to be where this ends up. So if you want to get in, you want to get in on it now because it's probably going to go up a point.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier, too, we're going to have Nick Bogdanovich on the program a little bit later, head of trading over at Boomer Sportsbook. We can discuss some of that movement with him as well, see if Boomers is one of those places that's taking that action and why he's seeing it tick up. We'll talk more NBA a little bit later on. There are a couple of NFL items I want to discuss with you, at least briefly here real quickly, including, did you know about this Josh Jacobs stuff over the weekend? No. Because for anyone who missed it, he is facing 5 charges right now over a domestic abuse disturbance call, was reportedly arrested on Saturday morning. And we're just learning about this yesterday when Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter are all tweeting about the charges that he is facing. But I had no idea this was going on.
No, absolutely no idea that this was going on. Like some crisis control people were all over
Good
this
PR
one for
team,
sure. Yeah, because I had no idea that this was going on. I mean, it's a laundry list of charges. So, I mean, I know that...
here we go. It's felony charges of strangulation and suffocation, as well as misdemeanor charges of battery, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim tied to domestic abuse.
Yeah.
So through which, by the way, I do want to at least say, through his attorney, he has, quote, vehemently denied all of these allegations.
Yes.
So we'll see what's to come of this. But, I mean, this is massive news for the Packers running back room.
What we never get out of the agents is someone vehemently agreeing with the allegations that against them. Like, I agree with all these charges that are against me right now. Yes. Look, if this was anything other than a running back, it might mean a little bit more to me. And I'm not saying that Josh Jacobs doesn't matter at all, but we've just kind of seen how the running back position has evolved. Unless you are one of the unicorns out there, and we've got a handful of them now in the NFL, we really do, but he's not one of them. And so for me, I look at this Packers team and it stays the same, right?
Okay.
Whether if he gets suspended, if he's not out there, I don't think it changes the outlook for me on this team.
He's not 2022 league leader anymore, although like still a near 1,000-yard running back last year, 14 total touchdowns. But I get what you're saying from that standpoint. He doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, he's not the Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley,
the straw that stirs the drink type of a guy you need. So we'll keep tabs on this as we learn more and see what criminally as well as from a league perspective, how this might play out.
That division, by the way, 180 on the Lions, 215 on the Packers, 310 on the Bears, and then 5-1 on the Vikings. I mean, Lions, Packers, Bears, all right there, you know.
And then also some other news. First time we've seen some images of Patrick Mahomes out there on the practice field with OTAs. Yes, he does have the big leg brace on that surgically repaired knee, but all of the talk, especially when the schedule release came out, is Monday Night Football, Week 1 against the Broncos. Are we actually going to see Patrick Mahomes?
That was the tell, right? They knew that he was going to be back. That was the tell. They were not going to give them.
You're just giving tinfoil hat people even.
No, but I mean, that was the tell that he was going to be fine.
Sure.
There was no way they were going to put the Chiefs on Monday Night Football opening week if it was Justin Fields like leading this team. There was no way that was going to happen. Or Garrett Nussmeier. Could you imagine Garrett Nussmeier is the starting quarterback on Monday Night Football?
And of course, Monday Night Football is ESPN2, which they're going through it right now in the NBA and NHL finals because, conference finals, because they had both the Knicks series and the Golden Knights Avs series. So both of them ended in sweep. Meanwhile, you get NBC and TNT with the long series.
Hey, we're about to get some cornhole on ESPN, you know, we're about to get a bunch of cornhole tournaments and stuff.
Last 30 seconds here, though, on Kansas City. What is your just purview on this team right now?
I think that this division is not theirs. I think that if you look at how this, and they're the favorite, by the way, plus 160 to win the AFC West, but Chargers, I think, are better than them. Broncos, so long as we got Bo Nix healthy or whatever, I believe are better than them as well. Raiders, not so much. Raiders are probably a year or two off with their development and all of that. I actually really liked what the Raiders did in the offseason, but I think this Chiefs team, we look at it, it's an older team that lacks explosive playmakers, and I think that's going to end up haunting them when it's all said and done. I like the Chargers better than them. I like the Broncos better than them.
We've already got plenty of NFL offseason content up at VSiN.com right now, looking at season win totals, some early bets to be made, as well as, Survivor Blueprint early edition. And with that, if you go to VSiN.com/subscribe right now and use the promo code PRO, we've got an awesome offer going on right now. Instead of the usual annual subscription for $240, you're getting 14 months for $199, gives you unlimited access to everything. The offer does expire in a few days, though, May 31st, so get in there while you can. can. Time for a quick timeout here on Money Moves, but when we come back, as we said already, the Vegas Golden Knights back in the Cup Final following last night's win and sweep of the Colorado Avalanche. Should they be the Cup favorite regardless of who they play in the final? We'll discuss with ESPN's Steve Levy coming up next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Game one at home in the Eastern Conference Final, the Carolina Hurricanes have responded with back-to-back 3-2 overtime wins. Big Game 4 on deck today against Montreal. Stormy, Buonantony, Matt Brown with you. Back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Whoever does go on to win that series, we know now will face the Vegas Golden Knights, who completed a sweep yesterday of the Colorado Avalanche. One of the all-time greats at ESPN, Steve Levy, kind enough to join us now on the Progressive Guest Line. He was in studio watching it all unfold yesterday. Been doing a great job all playoffs, whether it's call-in games or in studio. Even had to put up with me for a few games as his reporter. Steve, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. But what in the world, of all of the results that we could have had in this series, a Vegas sweep was not on the radar for me. How did you see things go through?
Yeah, no, I did pick Vegas to win the series, but if we're being honest, I picked them in 7. Of course, if you picked Vegas, you had to pick them in 7. There's no way they polish off the Avs before 7, right? And honestly, I really did. I don't take my predictions too seriously. Colorado's just too chalky. Everybody had Colorado, from midway point of the regular season to win the Cup. So that's no fun, taking Colorado. And so I remember we had the prediction segment I was on with Weeks, Messier, and Subban. And I told the producer, Greg Colley, hey, let me go last. I'll shock the world by taking Vegas. And, of course, Weeks, he took Vegas. PK took Vegas as well. Only Messier took Colorado. So there's some magic going on in the desert. And Torch is waving around his magic wand again.
Steve, is that the biggest story for this Vegas team, firing the coach late in the season, Torch coming in and this complete turnaround? Is it the goaltending that absolutely shifted for them? Kind of what do you think the biggest story is for this VGK team?
It has to be Carter Hart. It has to be the goaltending. Listen, coaching is important. I get killed on this all the time, so I want to speak very carefully here. Coaching, I take football out of the equation, but I believe that coaching is overrated. Now, don't confuse that with unimportant. Mm-hmm. It's still important, but I feel like it's overrated with the exception of football, meaning if you've got the best players, usually you're going to win. Now, hockey's different, ultimate team sport, 18 skaters. But if you got the 2 best NBA players, you don't have to have the best coach to win the championship. That kind of thing. Baseball, the same kind of thing. You've got the best starting pitchers, the best hitters and ever. Your baseball manager doesn't have to be the best manager to win it all. So that's my feeling. So I think Torch was very important. Look, it obviously wasn't getting done with Bruce Cassidy. So whatever Torch figured out or changed or the atmosphere in the room or whatever it might be, he fixed something. But goaltending is 1A and 2A and 3A. It's by far the most important position, I think, in all of sports, by the way, especially in the playoffs. And Carter Hart has been nothing short of phenomenal. Look at these other teams. I mean, Colorado did not have a clear-cut number 1 goalie. Wound up going back and forth here, right? Mm-hmm. And people are waiting for Freddie Anderson to falter with Carolina. Now, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it still will. There are a lot of questions about a lot of goalies in these NHL playoffs, and there's no question for Vegas because Tortorella has such strong feelings, and Carter Hart has made him look smart, too.
It's funny. I remember early on in that series with Utah, Torts coming out and saying, I don't really care about the numbers, save percentage, goals against, whatever. I care about timely saves. And even in those games, he was getting them. Now he has the stats to back it up, too. The thing that I'm curious about, Steve, and it's a complex subject, but when you look ahead to Conn Smythe, let's say Vegas wins it all and Carter Hart is at the center of all of it. Are voters going to have any of the off-ice issues when it comes to the way they think about this, even though he was acquitted of it? Mitch Marner is your favorite right now, but Carter Hart is still a pretty long shot on the board. There are other names, too, like Jack Eichel and Pavel Dorofeev, who are attractive prices in the betting market. But I do wonder if that's going to be a stain on him, even though maybe it shouldn't be.
Well, it will be a factor. It's going to be a factor for a certain percentage of the people who who vote absolutely will be a factor. I don't know how big a factor. And listen, that conversation will have to be had. The Stanley Cup Final will bring in viewers who potentially have not seen a single hockey game all season. And so that story will come up, and we will have to address it on the air. We actually had a little conversation about that last night. How are we going to address the subject? How often do we address it, right? You know, we could do it one time in a pregame show, and if you missed that, then you say, hey, ESPN never touched the subject, you know? Yeah. So we got to figure out the right place, the right time, the right amount of time to spend on the subject. But it's definitely a story, and it's not going to go away, nor should it. It's a story that needs to be told, and we'll tell it straight down the middle, and then the audience will decide for themselves how they want to feel about what took place, both in the courtroom and off, and then how you feel about the goaltender himself. But on the ice, he's been unbelievable. Yeah. And I remember we did his first game back in the NHL. Weeksy and I were in Vegas back in, I think it was December. And he had a great game, and he came on with us after the game. We were shocked Vegas PR even gave him the headset, right? Like, we asked for him, and they gave him to us. And he was terrific, and he was contrite, and he was emotional, and it was really interesting to see and feel. So, but that's a story. It'll be every part of his story in the finals, right? It will be award possibilities, whether he wins, whether he loses, how well he plays, how well he doesn't play. But it's not going away anytime soon.
Talking to ESPN's Steve Levy, I will let Stormy ask you about Carolina and Montreal. I don't want to make this all about Vegas, but one more here, as it is the team down the street from us here. And speaking of it being down the street from us, home ice advantage, I don't know exactly how you weigh it, but is it different in Vegas than maybe in most other places?
I think it's virtually zero. And I think around the league-wide, I think visiting teams have a winning record so far this postseason. I usually thought it was a coin flip, and I believe, as of a week ago, the road team had won 5 more times than they had lost. Now, a big part of that is Buffalo. They were awful at home, and they were great on the road. They won their games in Montreal. They won their games in Boston. And Montreal also has not been good at home. We're seeing that again in this series. They were really good on the road. And so I feel like Stormy has those numbers right in front of her now. Am I close to that?
No,
you pulling that up?
I was just looking at Montreal specifically right now, who's 2-5 at home going into tonight. Like, you're dead on, though. It hasn't played that large of a factor as we would assume.
So I think it's bigger in some places. I think Carolina has a real home ice advantage. For whatever reason that is, that building is crazy, it's loud, and they jump on you immediately in Carolina. They forecheck the hell out of you, get shots on goal right away. I'm not sure the Fortress is what it is any more than any other place, quite frankly. And again, in the old days, before you two were born, it was a thing because of the buildings themselves, man. Now they're all kind of cookie cutters, and it doesn't seem to matter. And the intimidation level is much more down. You're not afraid to go into a building anymore like you used to be afraid to go into Boston or Chicago or Philadelphia. So I really think it's a coin flip, and really the only advantage now is if you're going to get into the matchup game, which a lot of coaches do, getting last change, whether it's your defense or your forwards.
Well, as we do shift into tonight, then real quickly, in your opinion on Montreal-Carolina Game 4, in the Bell Center, we've seen at times, yes, that place is rocking, and it can be awesome if you grab their energy right away. But if Montreal gets down, then the pressure kind of mounts in that building. Do you have a gut feeling for how tonight's going to go?
Yes, I have to trust my vision. I have to go with my experience of what I have seen in the games, and not sort of with my head and what common sense. What I mean by that is, like, I didn't think the Knicks were going to sweep the Cavs. I thought the Cavs find a way, and then it's a 5-game series. Same deal with last night. You had to think Colorado gets a game. But if you're watching the games, the Knicks were dominant, right? Vegas was dominant. Like, I know the shots on goal and scoring, but you could just see how Vegas was playing through Colorado. Colorado couldn't complete a pass, couldn't get anything out of their own end, the physicality of Vegas. So tonight it's kind of the same deal. You have to think Montreal gets this home game. They've played 2 overtime games in a row. Usually those things wind up evening out. But Carolina is the superior team, and they have been. And so I think by my eyes and watching what's been going on, I think you have to feel like, hey, Montreal, it's been a nice run. Carolina's the superior team. Montreal's got to be out of gas, playing two 7-game series in the first 2 rounds. And you're right, Stormy. The home ice could work against Montreal. It's a really young team, not a lot of playoff experience, immense pressure on those young star players Canadians have. And so I'm thinking Carolina.
Steve, I know it's a really busy time for you in the playoffs, so thank you for making a little time for us. We appreciate it.
Always. Thanks for having me on. Let's do it again, maybe in person next round, huh?
I'll be down. We got to get you over
there
here.
We go.
See, you shouldn't have said that, Steve, because now I'm gonna try as hard as humanly possible to do it. Thank you for doing this, though. Have a great day.
All right. Be well. Thanks.
Steve Levy, everybody.
Look at that.
Let's go.
Maybe
Let's get him down to Circa.
Studio.
Everybody wants to come here, right? That's the thing. It has nothing to do with me. It
Look
just
at
has
that.
to do with this
Come
building.
The world's largest sports book, you know?
But I totally understand what he's saying about Carolina right now, right? And even though Montreal's just been a shot away from potentially winning these games, Carolina's just looked different.
And his opinion lines up with yours that I asked you 2 days ago. Just home ice just doesn't seem to be the same in the NHL than it does in maybe some other sports.
No question about it. Okay, you hear that music. We got to step aside here real quickly. When we come back, since I've done so much hockey, we got to let Matt have the floor with his love affair. Talking PGA Charles Schwab Challenge coming up after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Learned something very upsetting about my co-host today, Stormy Buonantony, Matt Brown, with you back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. You are one of the most active people I know. Whether it's like working out, going to do things, you are always down. You just told me that you are like an Instacart type person, getting things delivered to the house type person, and in an out of control fashion.
Not proud of it. Not proud of it. I get everything delivered.
Why?
And it is because the ease of, so instead of like making a list, I'm not Kelly Bidlin. Kelly Bidlin makes a list for everything. Like he has lists of things that he needs to do. He reminds himself he needs to go pick up his dry cleaning. He reminds himself that he's got to do whatever, like all the things.
I love a good list.
I, on the other hand, I'm going like, oh man, I'm out of this. Boom. I just go to Amazon real quick, bam, order it. And it's there. Then it just magically shows up. Sometimes boxes show up at the door. I don't even know what's in them. I don't even remember ordering. I don't even know what it is.
That's a problem.
I don't even know what it is. I'll go in.
This explains the whole subscriptions issue you had, but then go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll go in and it's like, oh, I did order that a couple of days. Now I remember I ordered that a couple of days ago.
Do you do it with food too? Do you DoorDash?
I will get food delivered.
See, that I think is... No, you cannot do the door dashing because the amount of money that you waste in delivery fees plus tipping the driver, you're just lighting money on fire.
You are lighting money on fire.
Also, usually they can't find the house or the drop-up off location. They get to the location to pick up your food item late, so by the time it does get to you, it's cold. Just get in your car and drive 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah. No, listen, all of this is fair. Like,
I'm mind blown.
I run out of shampoo. I'm like sitting there. I just open the Amazon, boom, get shampoo. I don't just go get anything anymore because I can just hit the button and then it just shows up at the door.
You know what this tells me? That you've won too many bets and you have too much money because you shouldn't be doing that. It's wasteful. Let's see if you can make us some shekels as well on the PGA Tour this week. For anybody who doesn't know, although I don't know how you don't at this point, Matt Brown, one of our top golf betting analysts here at the network, of course, the lead host of Long Shots with Kelly Bidlin.
The top. I'm just going to go with the.
There we go.
I'm just going to go with the top.
The top.
Yeah, there we go.
There are a couple people that might argue with you on that.
Just go with the top.
But as the PGA Tour rolls on this week, Texas Swing, we're in Fort Worth, Texas at the Colonial Golf Club for the Charles Schwab Challenge. While the majority of the big name players for this tournament are not here, it works out well, right? That you get actually good numbers to bet on players. Why are you smiling, laughing?
Because
did I say Schwab funny?
No, because you slowed down to say Charles Schwab, and I realized yesterday on the podcast how hard it is. I said Charles Schwab like 2 different times because it's like you know you're about to say Schwab, and then the CH or whatever. I said Charles Schwab twice on the podcast yesterday.
So. When we're going to have College World Series talk here relatively soon. It's Charles Schwab Field out there in Omaha as well. And I noticed myself doing that last year when we were out there in Omaha. Every time I said it, I had to take the pause because it runs together and then you get slurry and it's strange.
I said it once and then I got through basically the whole rest of the podcast. And then as I'm signing off, I'm just kind of and good luck on your Charles Schwab bets and whatever. It's oh my God, who knew that was going to be hard to say? But it is. It's hard to say. So anyway, we are heading over to Fort Worth. This is not your most star-studded field here in this one. Usually we get a couple of more big names in this, but Scotty Scheffler decided not to play. Jordan Spieth decided not to play. They live in the area, so they have played for several years in a row. But look, the schedule with the PGA and the way they're doing stuff right now, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for these guys to play this tournament, and so they're going to take it off. So with that, where we end up is a field that is led by Ludwig Åberg. Now, from a talent perspective, Ludwig Åberg is awesome. He is if you could build a golfer, you would probably build Ludwig Åberg or whatever, but he's had trouble winning on tour. And so that's been a big thing for him, but he's sub 10, plus 970 currently right now at DraftKings. That's a no-go for me. If I miss out on a Ludwig win at 970, it's not going to bother me. It's just, he is the most talented golfer in the field for sure.
But he's not a golfer you want to pay that price.
But he's not a golfer I'm playing, under sub 10, especially considering he's just had so much trouble getting it done on Sundays. And so, no way there. So we get to Russell Henley, then Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler,
all
Bob
of which
McIntyre.
who are 20-1 or higher.
Yeah. Double the price here on those guys. And I didn't go very far down the board and started with Justin Thomas. I'm trying to kind of catch him on the upswing here. He's not a guy that's going to model incredibly well for you. I'll go ahead and just say what I say all the time on the podcast. I am not a coder, so I just lean on the hard work of others. I did not build a model or anything like that or whatever. There are sites out there that basically give you a skeleton. You go in, you put in the stats that you want to put in there, and then you weight them accordingly, and then it will give you, how it all pops out and stuff like that. So I don't want people to think, I'm sitting there coding and stuff. But,
and he's big on the robots too. You've got your little AI helper to help.
I do say
consolidate.
I do say this. Maybe by next year I'll be making. I won't be doing it. AI will be doing it. But maybe I will have my own model by then. But I don't have it now. So he's not a guy that's going to pop really. But you just kind of see over the last couple of weeks he's starting to put things together. Justin Thomas has been spraying it off the tee for a couple of years. He's been a little bit better off the tee. He can't putt it in the ocean. He has putted better over the last couple of tournaments as well. And so I'm trying to catch him here on the upswing. And in a tournament like this, if he was in form, considering the lack of talent in this thing, he would be 12, 13, something like that. But instead, we're catching him at 23. So I'm going to go ahead and play Justin Thomas. Alex Smalley, a guy that myself and Kelly Bidlin are both on as well. He is a model darling. He is third overall in my model this week, behind only Ludwig and JJ Spawn. I didn't end up on JJ. Kelly did, but Alex Smalley, guy that it fits the profile here directly, across the board. The way these models will work out is if they're good at something, it's green. And if they're bad at it, it's
I love a visual aid.
Yeah, it's like red or pink or something like that. And so you can kind of look here on the screen and you'll see or whatever. But little Alex Smalley, green across the board here. You see, so it's all of the stats that I put in this week. He's good at. And so Alex Smalley, I thought was a really good value. You're getting him north of 30 out there in the market right now.
So for those of our friends that are listening and are wondering, okay, well, what did you weight most heavily in your model this week? What are the skill sets that are most important? Where'd you go there?
Yeah, so when you really break down this course, unfortunately, we're back to a course that we have a lot of information on. The last couple of weeks have been a little dicey. There was renovations on the course last week. We didn't know if it would play the same. It ended up playing the same, but we didn't know that. And then it's a rotating PGA. But we're back to a course that we know well. It's an accuracy-based course. I did not put a lick of distance in the model this week. I did good drives, which good drives, if you're wondering, it's not necessarily you have to hit it in the fairway, but it doesn't penalize you that if you barely miss the fairway, as long as you can hit it onto the green from where you hit it, that's considered a good drive. And so I did good drives in this. I did a lot of approach stuff. These are pretty small greens, and I think that's where it's going to separate stuff here. And so did a lot of approach stuff. And then I think it's going to play a little bit more scoreable than it has in a couple of years past. There's been a ton of rain in that area. My brother is so mad. He hadn't been able to golf in a week. He's so mad, with all the stuff that's going on through there. And so I think these courses are going to play it's going to play a little softer. And so I think that I put in some birdie or better gained on into the model, as well as opportunities gained. I've kind of gotten away from these proximity buckets. Some people love them. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. whatever, but I think it could be noisy. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to put in how good a guy is from 150 to 200 yards or something like that, opportunities gain is just a stat of when you're putting the ball 15 feet or closer to the hole. So basically an opportunity to make a birdie, and so that I think rings true a little bit more across the wider breadth of these of what I'm looking for than just like how good is this guy from 150 to 100 to 200 yards or something. So I don't do the proximity buckets anymore. Again, not saying I'm right, not saying they're wrong, whatever. And I put that in there, and that's kind of how the model popped out. So Smalley up there high in the model. Rio Hosatsune, another guy that I bet here. He's a fairway finder, hits a ton of fairways, and really good with the irons out of fairways, not so much in the rough, but I think he's going to live in the fairways this week, and so played him. Harry Hall is a guy I'm trying to catch on the up and up. So Harry Hall does everything well except drive it. So he can run pure off the tee, then I think he could be a real guy to contend with here in this one. But problem with Harry Hall there, Stormy, is Harry Hall has a tendency to spray it off the tee and spray it off the tee a lot. And as we are talking here, I know this is going to make for really great radio, but when we say about like, green being good and red being bad and stuff, if you go into Harry Hall's profile, Stormy, this is the off the tee category in the last tournaments that he has played. See how dark red that is? That's not even pink. See how dark red that is?
Maybe it's just because he is a UNLV golf alum, and scarlet is a very proud color for him.
So we gotta turn it around, Harry. But everything else has been good for him. And then finally, Sudarshan Yelamaraju is another guy, longer shot here in this one, but
longer name as well.
Yes, as well. Taught himself how to play golf off YouTube, and so he's been really good. Got cut at his first major ever, but I'm not holding that against him.
Very cool. Reminder, everybody, the sports calendar never stops, and the Sharp Plays is covering it all. They've been winning for 15 years, all of it documented. Logs posted publicly over at sharpplays.com. That kind of transparency we know rare in the industry. When the Sharp Plays move, sportsbooks take notice. They've got advanced AI, trusted insider intel, and find the value before numbers shift. Check them out today at sharpplays.com. Coming up on Money Moves, we got a big second hour on deck. Lots to discuss as the NBA and NHL postseasons roll on. We'll update some scores and live lines for the action in MLB, preview a couple games that are coming up as well. And in case you missed it, it might be the off season, but college football continues to make headlines. We have an update on the Brendan Sorsby situation and why these SEC coaches are sounding off about expansion and even secession. We'll get into it all next.